there is a moment when you need to say no. And that's the moment right now for me to say no to building more features for Activation Pal. I'm pretty happy with what I have built in the last week. And I think, my confidence is slightly better now about the product and its value. And I just need to stop building features and start to do marketing, design improvements, and just more customer support work. So let me show you what I've built in the last week. I was focused mainly on this analytics tab, which I think finally makes the product, a lot better, because previously it was just, store date. You can go to users and analyze it, but that was a lot of manual work. Like you need to go to every user to get insights. You need to manually scroll through events. And I think like overall that's a good thing. You kind of want to do it sometimes when you are debugging, or let's say just trying to understand like what's happening with this user. But overall, for most of the users, they want aggregated insights. They want the product to do the work they are too lazy for. And I think I finally done it. I have 5 analytics tabs, and I think I covered, to be honest, everything that is important churn-wise. So let me show you a quick sneak peek. So the first one is a health monitor. This is basically the thing that I want people to start the day with. I think this is the key information about how many users you have, how many people you have who are at risk, who are engaged. And I think this is just overall good idea of like how well is my user base doing. So are there any significant problems? Maybe the recent cohort of the users are all at risk and we need to act right now. I think this is really good. And overall, I love this at the first screen. It's not too detailed, so it's 8 metrics and 4 charts, but it gives a really good idea of what's going on. So the next one is a kind of high level. This one is billing analytics. So I think that you can have a lot of insights from Stripe, but also the problem with Stripe that a lot of things are actually not very good. For example, you have an MRR number, but let's say you have a user who scheduled the cancellation of their subscription. Do you realistically have that MRR? No, it's about to be canceled. If you don't do anything, it will be canceled. And I think a lot of insights here are really useful in kind of what's going on with your billing. FounderPal is not the best example, since a lot of payments, one-time payments, but we had a period in which we had subscriptions, so we can get some ideas. So for example, here I have 1,500 MRR, but I see that, one subscription is recoverable, so it means it's scheduled to cancel, but I can do something, I can reach out to this user, and one subscription is at risk, so it's past due, it's very likely to churn. I maybe can do something, but like that's kind of late stage. We have more insights about lifetime value, average tenure, and these kind of insights I don't think you can get from Stripe very easily. And again, maybe kind of like, can you get correctly? I don't think also. And we have nice ideas about monthly, annual distribution, plan distribution, price distribution. That's honestly was very useful. I had a call one time with the founder and asked them like, what is your distribution across prices? Maybe we don't need that pricing plan. Maybe it's you know, not enough people are on this plan to kind of justify it, and they couldn't get a very quick answer from Stripe. And I think when you have this right away, it's just very nice. So then we go to more user insights. This is basically, you know, how kind of more advanced insights, how our users are using my platform. And here we have daily active users, weekly active users, monthly active users, a really good summary of like how many people are using your product, for example, every week or every month. We have a retention graph, which is very good. And I think for a lot of products, weekly will make way more sense. And when you use Activation Pal more, you will have more data and you will see how the retention is changing. And I think this is kind of a chart that will justify Activation Pal. And we can see that we started working here and retention is improving, so that's good. And we also have stats by countries, and I think here you can see like how different countries are buying. So for example, I have top three, a lot of in the other for me, but United States percentage paying almost 15, and Canada like 10, but then you have like a lot of kind of non-target audience countries, and that's again a good understanding of what's going on. You might think that you have a lot of users, but like if these users are not buying, so I have 350 users that are tracked with Activation Pal, obviously more in FounderPal, but tracked in the last basically 2 weeks. So you kind of can just even don't think about these users since they are not buying that much. So I think this again a good high level understanding of what's going on. If you have a spike, if you have some problematic audience, so maybe you have a country with a good economics, but they are not maybe churning a lot, maybe it's a good idea to look into languages, into localization. Again, this is kind of insight you can get almost immediately with Activation Pal. So, and today I added two more analytic steps. So the first one is goals. Basically, goals is something that I hope I can make work in FounderPal, in Activation Pal. And here's an example of FounderPal. So I had a free demo, and basically I'm very interested into users finishing this free demo, because if they don't finish free demo, they are not activated, they will not see pricing, and they will not buy. And the more people finish the onboarding, the more money I will get. And for example, here I can get really nice analytics in what's going on. So I have like high level stuff, how many people started, what is completion rate, what is the average progress, how much time do they need to complete this goal, and get the nice charts so in progress. But I think the main highlight is this graph. I understand where the dropout happens. I actually should add something like a dropout to previous step, but that's yeah, maybe that's can be an addition, but like not every goal will have subsequent number of steps. Sometimes it's just five different rules. So yeah, that might not be a good addition, to be honest. So I think this is really good to kind of understand where is your funnel problematic. Here it's clearly visible that the biggest drop off is workspace described. So the person adds workspace, but then they're too lazy to describe the idea. And I think kind of maybe the next one is confirmation of persona. So they generate the persona, but they don't quite like the results, and they just don't confirm, maybe even quit before it's generated. So this is a good insight that you basically take a look, and then you go to the product, you fix it, and then you can compare. And I had this nice addition where I had like previously, so you can tell, for example, I had higher completion with workspace described in the previous period. So this is last 7 days. So in the previous 7 days, I had a higher conversion rate on this rule. So that's something to think about. And well, maybe need to change something. And we have like, how does this goal impact on the billing status and the engagement level, the completion of this goal? And I added an event analytics. This again is something that I think is extremely useful for apps, because they can see, they can think, oh, our people like use like a lot of AI features. But then we can go ahead and check how many, actual usage happens, how many usage happens per user. So, here an example, we have an event generation, basically any AI generation outside of onboarding. And we can see that on average per user in the last 7 days, we have 3.3, per user. That's not that much. If we take a look by paying customers, because in FounderPal that makes sense, free users will not have generations outside of demo. We have paid like 10 still almost 11 is not the number that we are looking for. I would probably think that it's closer to 15, 20. So that's also a good idea to, well, go into product and try to make it better. And I also have this nice property distribution. A lot of people, they will have the key insights in the properties of the events. For example, they have, I don't know, like account connected, and in the property they will have like what social media was connected. So I want to give a very simple and easy to get insights of these dates in the properties. And here, for example, I can tell that the most popular feature in FounderPal is chat. So basically, when you talk to AI assistant, I think this one is kind of like just an internal add-on to some. And next one is competitor finder. So by looking at this, I can get a very clear idea of what features are popular, and maybe what features are less popular. For example, pricing. And I can go ahead and try to improve that tool and just make it better. So these 5 analytics tabs, I think that's something that I can finally have peace with, and just pause with adding features. And next one will be definitely improving landing page, getting more users, probably um, sending emails to my email base, but that's probably after the new year. Launching on Reddit, launching on Product Hunt, and just getting more eyeballs, because the next step for the product is to deliver like a big feature, probably some automations. I don't want to do this before I get a paying customer. I think this is a nice thing that kind of improves the value proposition of the product, but I don't want to spend 2 more months building things if that's not enough. If that's not enough, maybe that's a good idea to kind of pivot the product, try something new, do something else. Because if that's not worth $19 per month, or even free plan, I think something is wrong and I need to try something else. But I would say probably that's good. I'm not paying for the app, but I would say that that's good. Just need to have more eyeballs, and that's my goal for the next, I would say, 3 weeks for sure. So yeah, let's hope these 3 weeks will be productive.